Did you know that one of the most critical figures in the lead-up to D-Day wasn't a general, but a struggling actor? It sounds like a movie plot, but this is the incredible true story of Operation Copperhead, a deception so bold it helped shape the outcome of World War II. In early 1944, the Allies were preparing for the largest amphibious invasion in history, the Normandy landings. But to succeed, they needed a crucial element: surprise. The Germans knew an invasion was coming, but they didn't know where or when. The Allied High Command needed to convince them that the main attack would come at Pas de Calais, not Normandy. This grand deception was called Operation Fortitude, and it involved fake armies, inflatable tanks, and phantom radio signals. But it needed a secret weapon, a human element to make the lie believable. And that's where General Bernard Montgomery, the famous Monty, came in. Or rather, someone who looked just like him. Montgomery was one of the most recognizable Allied commanders. The Germans tracked his every move, believing that wherever Monty was, the main invasion force would be too. The problem was, the real Montgomery was busy in England, secretly planning the Normandy invasion. So how could he be in two places at once? This is where MI5, the British Security Service, had a stroke of genius. They decided to find a double. The mission fell to a filmmaker-turned-intelligence officer named David Niven. Yes, the future Hollywood star. He was tasked with finding a perfect lookalike for General Montgomery. After a painstaking search through military records, they found their man, Lieutenant Merrick Edward Clifton James. Clifton James was an Australian actor who, before the war, had spent years in repertory theater. Crucially, during a stage production, a fellow actor had remarked on his uncanny resemblance to Montgomery. This offhand comment would soon change his life and play a small but vital role in history. Clifton James was serving as a paymaster in Leicester when he was suddenly summoned to London. He had no idea why. Imagine his shock when he was brought before a high-ranking intelligence officer and told he was being asked to impersonate one of the most famous men in the world for a top-secret mission. He was given a choice, but for a patriot and an actor, this was the role of a lifetime. He immediately agreed. The transformation began. This wasn't just about looking the part. Clifton James had to become Montgomery. He spent weeks studying newsreels, photographs, and intelligence reports. He learned to mimic Monty's distinctive walk, his sharp, bird-like head movements, his unique way of holding a cigarette, and his clipped, authoritative tone of voice. He even had to give up drinking and smoking, as the real Montgomery was a teetotaler. Prosthetics were used to slightly alter his features, but the resemblance was already astonishing. He was coached by people who knew Montgomery personally, drilling him on the general's habits, opinions, and mannerisms. The pressure was immense. One slip-up, one wrong gesture could expose the entire operation and endanger the D-Day landings. Finally, the day of the performance arrived. On May 26, 1944, just days before the real invasion, General Montgomery boarded a plane at RAF Northolt. His destination, Gibraltar. The plan was simple but audacious. The presence of Montgomery in the Mediterranean would strongly suggest that the Allies were planning an invasion of southern France, drawing German attention, and more importantly, German troops away from Normandy. Upon arriving in Gibraltar, Clifton James, in full general's attire, was greeted by the Governor-General. He played his part perfectly. He toured the fortress, reviewed the troops, and engaged in conversations, all while German agents watched from across the border in Spain. He even deliberately dropped hints about a fictional Plan 303, a supposed invasion of southern France. Every move was calculated, every word a piece of the puzzle designed to mislead the enemy. From Gibraltar, he flew to Algiers. There, he met with General Maitland Wilson, the Allied commander in the Mediterranean. Wilson was in on the secret and played his part, welcoming Monty with all the ceremony due to a visiting commander. Clifton James mingled with high-ranking officers at cocktail parties, all of whom were unaware of the deception. He continued to drop subtle clues about a Mediterranean campaign. The German intelligence network lit up with reports. Montgomery was in North Africa, preparing for an assault from the south. The bait was taken. After a few days, Clifton James's public role was over. He was secretly flown to Cairo, where he was hidden away until after the successful D-Day landings. Once the Normandy beaches were secured, his mission was complete. He was sent back to England, sworn to absolute secrecy, and returned to his quiet job as a paymaster in the army. The curtain had fallen on the greatest performance of his life. Operation Copperhead was a resounding success. Combined with the other elements of Operation Fortitude, it helped convince the German High Command that Normandy was just a diversion. They kept powerful panzer divisions waiting at Pas-de-Calais for a main attack that never came. Those divisions could have made a critical difference on the beaches of Normandy. While it's impossible to quantify its exact impact, the deception undoubtedly contributed to the Allied success on D-Day and helped save countless lives. For Clifton James, life after the war was bittersweet. He was bound by the Official Secrets Act and couldn't talk about his incredible adventure for many years. When the story was finally declassified, he wrote a book called I Was Monty's Double, which was later turned into a film starring himself. He finally got to play the role of a lifetime on the big screen, this time as himself playing Montgomery. It was a fitting, if slightly surreal, end to an extraordinary chapter in his life. The story of Operation Copperhead is a powerful reminder that wars aren't just won with soldiers and tanks, but also with ingenuity, courage, and sometimes a little bit of theater. It shows how one person, an ordinary actor from Australia, was given an extraordinary opportunity to step onto the world stage and deliver a performance that helped change the course of history. It's a tale of daring deception and the unsung heroes who work in the shadows. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this story as fascinating as I did, please hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible tales from history. Let me know in the comments what you think. See you in the next video.